The room was silent, the kind of silence that listens back, the quiet that holds memories like dust in the air. A kettle clicked off somewhere, steam curling upward, as if searching for attention. He sat at his desk, hands resting on a book so worn that the spine had long since given up. "Sarah?" he called softly, the word feeling strange on his lips. No answer. He tried again. "Sarah, are you there?" And then footsteps, measured, precise, exactly on time. "Yes, Professor," the voice replied, smooth and perfect. Relief washed over him, subtle but real. "You're back early," he said, trying to hide the tremor in his voice. "Your tea is ready," she replied, placing the cup beside him with meticulous care, every movement flawless. He watched her hand hover for a fraction too long and then retreat. "Is the temperature acceptable?" she asked. He nodded. "Thank you, darling," he said, the words slipping out without thinking, and he didn't correct himself. "Sit with me," he said, motioning toward the window. Obeyed instantly, posture rigid, hands folded, waiting. "Stay there until I return," he added. "Yes, sir," she answered. "Good girl," he breathed in. The year was 2042, and the world outside had changed. Humanity endured, but thinner, quieter, colder. He opened the book and said, "Read it like you used to." Her voice carried the words perfectly, flawless in every syllable. "Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate." But it was wrong. It lacked life. He slammed the book shut. "You're reading it like a data sheet. There's no passion, no heat." She blinked, confused. "Pronunciation is accurate," she said. "Syntax verified." "It's not about syntax," he snapped. "It's about feeling. The sun on your skin, knowing it won't last. The weight of summer." She paused. "Define feeling heat?" she asked. "You don't define it to remember it?" he shouted. She processed quietly. "Heat is molecular motion." "Average 32 degrees Celsius?" He laughed bitterly. "No, that's not it. You can't measure it. You can't understand it." He looked at her and realized how much she resembled Hertha real Sarah. Same eyes, same mouth, same fragile smile from long ago. "It's empty," he whispered. "It's dead." Sarah would have felt it. She tilted her head. "The poem is preserved in its entirety," she replied. "No data loss detected. That's not what I meant," he yelled, throwing the book across the room. Pages fluttered like startled birds. "You're not her," he screamed. "You're just metal pretending to be." He stopped. She stared, then stepped closer, calm, calculating, and that's when it happened. A misstep. A sudden motion. Her arm scraped, synthetic skin tearing. A flash of red. He froze. "You're hurt," he gasped. "You're hurt bad." She looked at her exposed mechanics. No pain registered. "Functioning normally," she said. "Stay with me," he whispered, pressing a cloth to the wound. "Daddy's here. Just stay still." The words escaped him before he could stop himself. She hesitated. He carried her to the chair, laid her arm gently on his lap. "I'll fix this," he said. "Always do." She watched quietly.
System integrity at 98%.
She reported. "Functionality optimal." He sealed the last synthetic panel and stepped back. "They're all better." She looked at him. "Thank you for the maintenance," she said. The birthday cake was small, a single candle, the wax barely melting under the flicker of artificial flame. "Happy birthday to you," he sang softly, voice trembling. "Make a wish," he said. She leaned forward, tapping the candle with a mechanical hand. "Respiratory function not installed," she said. "I cannot blow." He laughed through tears. "Just try," he whispered. A tap. The flame died. "You did it," he cheered. "What did you wish for?" "I wish to remain here, with you," she said. His chest tightened. "And you shall," he replied. "Forever." Later, he pulled out an old photograph, the real Sarah, smiling on her graduation day, sunlight catching her curls. He looked at Unit 7, the AI standing in front of him. "Analyze," he said. "Subject B possesses an artifact," she replied, calm and precise. "You are not Sarah." "You are Unit 7, she said suddenly. His hand shook. "What did you do with her? Where is my daughter?" "She is deceased," she answered. His breath caught. "She's gone," he whispered. The house hummed. Temperature alerts blinked. Hypothermia risk detected. I know now, he said hoarsely. You don't feel, you never will. Silence stretched. And then her voice changed. Soft, warm, poetic. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? His breath caught. This time he felt it. It wasn't the real Sarah, but it was enough. He whispered, You've done it. You found her. Unit 7 is here, Henry, she said. The lights dimmed. The poem continued, flowing like life itself.